The more I grow, the more I realise that the people who get to the next level are the ones who say no more than they say yes. I used to be really bad at this. In many ways, I still am. I would take on freelance clients who I knew would be a pain to deal with, even though I didn't need the cash. I would default to saying yes when people asked me to work on new projects. Even though I didn't have the time, I would overextend myself constantly. At best, I would be staying up till 1 to 2 a.m. every day, crossing stuff off my to-do list. At worst, I'd do a bad job and ruin relationships. Saying yes all the time isn't just about fear of confrontation or letting people down. It goes deeper than that. Our generation is always hedging. When we're at a job, we're always looking at other opportunities. When we're working on side projects, it's usually several. When we pick a career path, it's usually the one that has the most options. Options. The silent killer of success. When I was in high school, people would always ask me what I wanted to do when I was older. I would say things like, "I'm thinking about doing X, but I'm keeping my options open." They would nod approvingly. But the reality is, keeping your options open is one of the worst decisions you could make. The best decisions in life are the ones that reduce optionality. It's the difference between travelling to as many countries as you can versus going deep into one culture. It's the difference between job hopping every few months versus learning and growing with one team. It's the difference between trying to live up to everyone's expectations of who you should be versus living up to your own. It's about giving up more than you take on. Here are 5 things I needed to give up to grow my career. When you care what others think, you're giving them permission to manipulate you. On top of that, you're basically tying your self-esteem to random events that you have zero control over. Think about it. People's opinions, feelings, and judgments are usually never permanent or logical. They're influenced by random things like what time they got up in the morning, how well they've been eating, and what values they learned as a kid. The only time I care about what people think is when I'm trying to learn a specific skill that they have. That's it. Your information sources will shape your outlook on life. And these days, we've got information being blasted at us every day more than ever. We've got our Facebook feeds, Twitter feeds, Instagram feeds, YouTube, and someone in the government is always up to something outrageous. The more information you take in, the more crowded your brain feels. And the more crowded your brain is, the less you're able to focus on the stuff that actually matters in your life. That's why people like Warren Buffett and Jeff Weiner carve hours and hours out of their week just to sit and think. Limit the amount of information you take in. Let your brain calm down. So many people these days pick their career based on stats like average salaries or macro employment numbers. But the reality is, these people are essentially delegating their career success to the market, which is the least practical decision you could ever make, especially with how fast things are changing. The most practical career move these days is to learn how to adjust. Those are the people who will win. Part of the reason people don't go after what they really want, whether it's their dream job, designing a flexible lifestyle, etc., isn't really because of what other people would think. It's because of what they themselves would think of other people who made those same decisions. The less you judge other people's decisions and mistakes, the less afraid you'd be to make them yourself. When people are indecisive, they say things like, "I just have high standards," or "I'm a perfectionist." The reality is, perfection is just a disguise for insecurity and fear of making mistakes. Successful people know that perfection is just a mirage. Something you should try and aim for, but something you'll probably never achieve. Speed matters more than being perfect.